Welcome, it's Manchester Level Club and Manchester Masons. We are here with Eamon O'Neill. He is the Chief Executive of St Anne's Hospice and also the High Sheriff of Manchester. So thank you very much for coming with us, Eamon. We're here to explain what we are fundraising for, which is St Anne's Hospice. We're on the Yorkshire Three Peaks on the 8th of August. So Eamon, we really appreciate your time. We will show some videos later to explain what St Anne's perfectly does and the amazing work that they do. So can you tell us what you do as Chief Exec for St Anne's, please?
Yeah, so the Chief Exec really is, I see it as the conductor of the orchestra. You know, the trick is to gather a fantastic team around you with every individual different expertise, and then you just kind of, you know, guide them along the path. So we've got amazing people at St Anne's, and I would say 100% of us here are here because it's St Anne's, not because we get any fancy titles or other reasons. So my journey started probably 25 years ago when my uncle came and was looked after here, and then subsequently my auntie came and was looked after here, so I was a family member. I was then a patron for a while when I was working in television and radio. Then I became a trustee and chair of the trustees in 2013, and then when the chief executive role became free in 2016, I left my role at the Manchester Evening News, applied for the job and got it, and it's a real privilege to do.
Yeah. So we'll show you the first video of St Anne's Hospice.
Funding is very vital for the hospice because, as we know, the hospice only gets a very limited funding from the NHS, and the rest of the funding has to be fundraised. And funding is also important because the hospice doesn't look at just the medical care of patients, it looks at the wider health and well-being of patients as well as their loved ones. There's one specific scenario that sticks to my mind was a young patient who had a very terminal cancer with a very young family who were really struggling in an acute hospital environment. So we discussed that with the family and with the hospice team here and prioritized to transfer that patient. But also, I think the more important thing was that that patient was able to have that quality time with the children and with the family. So they were able to actually be a family once again, especially during the last days and last weeks of that patient's life.
As you can see, St Anne's Hospice do absolutely fantastic work. You're also High Sheriff of Manchester. Congratulations for that. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role?
Yeah, so the High Sheriff role goes back 1,000 years. This is the first year, though, that we've had to do much of it virtually. I mean, I don't think the Sheriff of Nottingham had a Zoom issue.
Not really.
No, so you're appointed by the Queen for a year, and the main role is to look after the judiciary and to make sure that you engage with community groups, good causes, and the diversity of everything that goes on in Greater Manchester, and make sure really, you know, you just celebrate and congratulate. So it's a ceremonial role that it doesn't bring any actual power with it, doesn't bring any expenses with it either. But it's a real privilege to do, and it comes in the same year as St Anne's Hospice reaches its 50th. So I've dedicated my appointment by the Queen as High Sheriff to all the colleagues and volunteers and staff and patients at St Anne's.
Well, congratulations, a massive achievement.
Yeah.
Really, really great
Great
achievement. Honour. Yeah, it is. So to go on that, what is your highlight of working for St Anne's? What has been the best for you?
Well, I think it's very humbling. You know, I've spent most of my career in the media, in television, radio, newspapers, and I love that, and I still do some radio, and you know, really had a buzz of that throughout my whole career. But there's something very special and unique about working at a hospice, and St Anne's, it brings just huge fulfillment. It sounds a bit trite to say, but I'm getting more out of having this job than I think the hospice is getting out of me.
Don't know about that. We've been doing amazing work. Just to show, St Anne's not only support people in the hospice, but they support people at home. So enjoy the next video.
30 to 40% of people that come into the inpatient unit are discharged either to their own home or to a nursing home typically. And there was one gentleman in particular who'd came across from an acute hospital, and he'd been led to believe he wouldn't be able to go home. There was too many risks involved with him going home. But he made it very clear, despite very minimal speech and despite very deteriorating mobility and a loss of one side of his body, that was clearly his wish. And then our job was to try and minimise those risks really and enable him to go home in the safest possible way. So for example, things like telecare were introduced, so he had like sensors on his bed and his chair. And within a couple of days, his partner came back and said it was just so much the right thing to do. She'd been quite concerned that he was going to be on his own for big periods of time, but she said he just looked so at peace and so happy to be in his flat.
As you can see, St Anne's Hospice do absolutely fantastic work, and that is the reason why Manchester Level Club Manchester Masons are doing the Yorkshire 3-Peak Challenge on the 8th of August. 24.5 miles across mountain terrain. Everyone, thank you so much for signing up, but we need more people. We need your support. Donate to us as much as you can to support the fantastic work that St Anne's Hospice are doing. It is phenomenal. Thank you very much for coming.
Well, I want to say thank you to the Manchester Level Club and the Manchester Young Masons, and for all of you who have signed up, because it's so important that that people from all over the place support us. Otherwise, we couldn't do what we do. We're an independent charity. We have to raise £20,000 every day to keep our services free to the community, and every single penny counts. Some people raise money for us by having a book sale in the back garden. Others run up or walk up 3 mountains. So I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you so much for doing it and for supporting us. I'm worn out even just thinking about it.
Perfect. On that note, donate. Please get onto the Manchester Masons Facebook, Manchester Level Club. Go on there, support your friends, support your family. If you want to sign up, please contact us and let's raise as much money as we possibly can.